The face of YouTube is changing, but so is the way camera reviews are conducted and the amount of products that are out there. Now recently, Gerald Undone made a video talking about the issues with content creators and camera reviews today. And Peter Lindrum has also done this and given his take on it. So I just wanted to give you my view on it as a fairly small creator. So I, at the time of making this video, just about 1,000 subscribers, so I don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and get flown on all these amazing trips all over the world by brands and everything. I don't have that yet. Any reviews that I make on products, I buy the product myself. I have to make an invested decision on whether I'm going to spend that money on that product, and then I review it, and then I spend ages testing the product and the camera or whatever it is under loads of different circumstances, and then I will make a video based on all of the pros and all of the cons on it after using it for an extended amount of time. Now, in my opinion, that is how all camera reviews or any sort of tech or product reviews should be done. The issue is that with content creators today is that they get offered by brands to be flown out to exotic locations for press releases, and they take it up quite rightly. Now, this has all stemmed from a little bit of controversy that's happened recently with the Lumix S9, which is the latest camera that's come out from Lumix, where they flew a load of creators to Japan for a press release. And they flew them out there, they put them up in a hotel, they gave them food, they gave them whatever they wanted basically for the trip, and they gave them a camera. This is the Sony a7 IV, but they gave them a camera, the new Lumix S9, and they let them film whatever they wanted, and then they got to make a video about it. Now, the argument for this, and this is what Gerald Undone talks about in his video, is that the problem with content creation nowadays is that creators get taken on these big exotic locations, they get flown to a lovely place in the world, get given a camera, all expenses paid, and the vibe is already really high. They're hanging out with their friends, they're getting drinks, they're getting food, and they're just having a wonderful time. The vibe's really good, and then they get given a camera and said, go and review this, tell us what you think. And now obviously they're already going to have a really positive energy and really good things to say about the camera, because the camera is not going to be a terrible product, is it? It's going to be, by and large, a decent product, otherwise it wouldn't be released. So they're going to have good things to say about it. And they've really only got a short amount of time to review that. And they're thinking, God, the press release is this day. We're not allowed to release any reviews before this day. We must drop our review on this day. So they rush to make a video, and they don't have that much time with the product. And then when they make their video, it's only ever going to be good things. It's going to be a general overview and, oh, this camera is amazing. Look at all this amazing footage I got with it. The problem with that is they haven't had time to use it over a good lengthy amount of time, and then the viewers, i.e. you guys, are going to have a bit of a opinion already. You're going to have formed an opinion that this person has been paid to go on this trip, they've been given the product for free, they've got to hang out with all of their friends in this amazing part of the world. Obviously, they're going to say good things about the camera. They're not going to say it's crap, right? So that is the issue with it. The problem, and this is what Gerald Undone says, is that he wants people to just do long-term reviews of cameras and products that are genuine and that are real, which is basically what I do at the minute. And this is what small creators do. Because someone like myself, who's a small creator, I'm filming this video on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Now, I had to buy that with my own money. I had to buy my Sony a7 IV with my own money. And I had to spend a lot of time looking up all the different specs of all different cameras and all different products to find out what the best one for me was, and to figure out whether it was something that I wanted to use for my business, for making videos, to make my YouTube videos better, to make my content better, if it's something that I thought was going to benefit my audience and if they could learn from it. And then only then did I make the decision to get it and then review it for a long amount of time before I then made videos and formed honest opinions about it. And that is what we should go back to. The problem is all these creators are struggling and scrambling to get out the first video they can, and then all of a sudden you have 20 people will drop a video at the same time, only giving good feedback really on a product. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done this as well, but the difference is I do overviews. So when Apple released the new iPhone, the new iPad, the new MacBook Pro, I will stay up and watch their press event. I'll make loads of notes about it, and then I will do an overview saying, these are the specs of this product. This is what it is. Is it really good? Don't know. We'll have to wait and see until we get it. Whereas other people will talk about how amazing this product is without even having the time to review it long term. And that is the biggest issue with cameras and camera reviews nowadays. Now, the problem is that there's so much out there. Back in the day, probably 10, 20 years ago, every time a new camera was released, it normally had some innovative, game-changing features in it that made it so good. Whereas now, there's so many products being released by so many different companies that it's very rare that a product comes out that actually changes the game. Let's take the new iPad, for example, right? You've got the new M4 iPad Pro that's just been released by Apple. And their press event, as it always is for Apple, talks about how incredible this is and how more or less it can replace your laptop and you can edit videos on it and all that sort of thing. Now, yes, it's brilliant and it's a really good product, but it doesn't really do anything that the M2 iPad Pro did. So it's more of a software issue. So the hardware in the M4 iPad Pro is amazing, but the hardware in it is incredible, but the software just hasn't caught up with it. There isn't really the software that can take advantage of all of those features that the hardware can provide. And that was the same with the M2. If you've got the M2 iPad Pro, then you'll notice that it can pretty much do what the M4 iPad Pro can do. There's not really that much different. You look at the MacBook Pro, MKBHD is probably the biggest tech reviewer in the world, still has an M1 MacBook Pro. He's still got a MacBook Pro that's 3 or 4 years old because by his own admission, the features in the latest version doesn't warrant him upgrading because it doesn't really do anything that his version does. Doesn't really do anything that's anything new. And this is the same with cameras. Now, the only time that I would say a camera is really game-changing or industry-leading is like the Osmo Pocket 3. Now, genuinely, I've had this camera, this device for about a month, and I love it. I think it's absolutely incredible. It has an amazing sensor. It gives you amazing footage. It fits in your pocket, and it basically bridges the gap between a mobile phone and a professional mirrorless camera. That is what I love about the Osmo Pocket 3. Now, other devices, like for example, let's talk about GoPros. GoPro is a brilliant action camera. It's a phenomenal action camera, but you don't really need to upgrade it. Every year they bring out a new one and it's no different from the last one. It might have a few new gimmicky features or upgraded features, but there's nothing really amazing about it. Now, when the GoPro Hero 12 came out, I made a video about it saying, yes, it's decent, but you should just buy the Hero 10 instead, which is what I've got here. My GoPro is 2 years old and I have no intention of upgrading it for another 2 or 3 years because the product hasn't really changed that much. This still produces amazing 4K quality footage. And until they put a bigger sensor on this to make it better in low light and have better quality video, there's no real need to upgrade it. And this is the problem with camera reviews, is that the companies will fly creators to these amazing exotic locations and give them the product to review. And then there's two issues that happen. Number one, the creator almost feels obligated to have to create this amazing video and only say positive things about the brand because they've paid for them to go to this exotic location. The other issue is that the viewer, i.e. you watching this, are going to form your own opinion before you've even watched it and think, well, this person's been flown to an exotic location with a camera. Of course, they're going to have great things to say about the camera. Anything they say positive about it is only because they got flown to that exotic location. And that's the biggest problem, is you've got to try and strike that balance. Now, one thing you need to understand, right, is that I would love that. I would love nothing more, and I'm sure I'll get there eventually, and I'm sure I'll start getting brands offer those things to me eventually. But right now, that's not happening for me. Okay, I'm not a big enough YouTuber for that to happen to me. I'm still growing, but eventually, brands will reach out to me and say, "Hey, John, do you want to come to Alaska to film?" I don't know why Alaska, but do you want to come to Alaska for the DJI Osmo Pocket 4? Do you want to go to Iceland for the Sony A7 IV? Do you want to go to New York for the launch of the new MacBook Pro? And I would absolutely snap that up. Of course I would. Why wouldn't I? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And there are some people, i.e. viewers, that get the ump with that and don't really like it and moan about it. But do you know what? At the end of the day, it's an amazing opportunity. And if you was given that opportunity, you would take it as well. So why the hell wouldn't we take it? If I got offered to go to some amazing location, of course I'm going to do that. But the difference is that I would hope that I would still give an impartial opinion on something. If I've only got to look at something for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, I would hope that I would give an overview of the specs and say, these are the specs, it looks good and it looks decent and it could potentially change the way you make videos or could potentially change your workflow in the future, but we need to actually get our hands on it. That's what I would hope I would say, because I don't want to give people false hope or just spit a false narrative just based on the fact that I've been offered to go to these exotic locations. And like I said, the camera reviews, I think, need to go back to what you do in your early stages as a creator, where you have to invest your own money in buying a product. So you have to spend ages looking at other people's reviews of it, looking at other people's pros and cons of it, and looking at all the good things about it, bad things about it. And then you get someone who's had it for 6 months, who's given you a long-term review and all the different creative shots you can do of it and how you can set it up. And then you make the decision, right, I like this product, I'm going to invest in it and I'm going to buy it. And then when you buy it, you use it for a long time yourself and then give a real objective review on it and say what you think it is, what the good and the bad of it is. Now, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, I've made videos about it saying how I think is the best thing since sliced bread. And I do think it's an incredible camera. Has it got flaws? Of course it has. Now, as I've said before, if I get offered to go to some location for the Sony A7 IV, 100% I'm going. Don't think I'm not going to take the opportunity, because I will. I will be there. If I get told, come to New York for the launch of the MacBook Pro, I will be in New York because I bloody love New York. But I will give an objective opinion on it. I'm not going to just take anything that they offer me, and I'm definitely not going to go for a brand deal that wants me to not say anything negative about their product. I don't do that. My opinion isn't going to be bought by anyone. I will give an objective opinion on that. And most of the time, I would like to think that I want to service my audience and make sure they get the best value from it. So this is my opinion as a small creator, not someone with 100,000 subscribers, not someone with 1 million subscribers, not someone who goes to every press event across the world. This is my opinion of somebody that has just about reached 1,000 subscribers, that makes all of their videos from cameras they buy themselves and invest in themselves, that doesn't get flown around to exotic locations, that I buy all of these things with my own money and I make my own reviews based on what I think of them. Now, what you need to understand about cameras is that you just need to buy something that's going to work for you with your budget. Now, I would highly recommend you buy the Osmo Pocket 3. If you want to know more about that, then I would highly recommend you check out this video up here now. But ultimately, I would buy a camera that is going to work for you and is not going to break the bank. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know what you think about camera reviews and how they should be going forward. But this is meant to be a more raw and authentic video, just to give my take on something that's a bit of a hot topic right now. But thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.